and welcome back to Division Therapy. Man, that All-Star week was certainly an interesting All-Star week, but
Yeah,
I honestly shout out Phillies fans and the whole Philadelphia Phillies for just blowing it in
blowing
every
it.
single
Oh,
facet.
yeah. It was
Home
so
run derby.
great seeing them embarrassed. I
Yeah,
get such joy from it. I know I'm saying it as a Mets fan, and so there's a bit of irony because the Mets, but
hey,
seeing
listen,
Philly like in there,
Juan Soto was one of the only
I
one of the
know,
few
I know,
Nationals
it's
players to get it.
crazy.
Get a hit, dude.
I saw a tweet. It was like Juan Soto. Juan Soto went to the All Star game and just played with the Mets because nobody else did anything. It was just him. It was
Literally.
just one man show. But honestly, I will say Home Run Derby was a lot better than I anticipated. I was nervous because of the no timer thing, and I thought people would take their time. And they started out guns blazing with Wilson Contreras really
Oh yeah.
crushing it. And then
Yeah.
who was the second one? Who was the second
Was it
guy?
was it Caminero right off the bat?
No, no, no. It wasn't him. It was. Oh, it'll come to me. It'll come to me. But
It
honestly, it was just
wasn't
like a
Rice.
great start.
It wasn't Rice yet.
No, 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 no.
I'm trying to. Was it
Yeah,
Walker? Did Walker go second?
he might have. It might have been
He
him.
might have.
Yeah, I
But
think it was. I think it was.
yeah. But
Yeah, congrats, Jordan Walker.
speaking of Jordan Walker, that was 6 home runs on that. That's what makes the swing kind of obviously because this is a previous version of it. Obviously, this timer was kind of a short time in baseball history, all things considered. But I'm like, to just be able to continuously do that and not kind of have that timer and be able to make that comeback. That comeback is obviously significantly more difficult if you got that kind of pressure of the time limit on you. So I've always liked the outs or swings or whatever you want to call it. So I
I think.
personally like it.
I
The
think they're
only
two
thing,
sides.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. What were you gonna say? Go ahead.
the only thing that isn't my favorite about the not time thing is that all things considered, yes, if they can just hit 20 home runs. You know what I mean? It's kind of like it limits the amount of home
I
runs that
don't know. I don't
realistically
think
can be
anyone was
hit.
gonna. I mean, I thought 14 was a lot because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think we think it's so easy for them to hit home runs, and then after it, they're every single person is always like, "Man, that was harder than I thought." Like you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
see Ben Rice was gassed immediately. Like I think
Yeah,
these
he was
it's just not
exhausted.
it's just not something that they practice. Even like during batting practice, I'm sure they're working on things, working on like pulling the ball, like home run derby. It's really just hit the home run, like get it out of the ballpark. It doesn't matter where it goes, but just get it out into the stands. So congrats to Jordan Walker. Congrats to MLB. Great event. And then, the All Star game was mid.
It just wasn't great. It
It
just
wasn't
was
great.
boring. It
Yeah.
was boring. I honestly think that seeing Caminero got hit kind of ruined the
That was
game a
scary.
little bit because I honestly think they saw him get hit. And I think the hitters kind of took a step back and they were like, okay, we're all going to chill. And listen, I guess that's not particularly an excuse for just not getting hit. The AL pitching staff was insane. But I do think that that might have made the people take a little bit of a
That's
step
a good
back
call.
and say,
That's a good call, yeah.
hey, maybe we're all having fun here. Who cares? This is exhibition. Because
That was scary though because
If Cameronero's finger would have been broken,
mhm.
I'm like raised. I'm like that would have been a
Yeah, I mean
scandal.
nobody
That would have been bad.
yeah, it would have been like Edwin Diaz World Baseball Classic all over again,
Yeah,
where he was lost for the
yeah.
season. It's just that was really scary. Fastball in on his hands. Just I don't think Riley O'Brien meant anything. Like I don't think there was any ill intent, but just bad.
That's just
Bad,
kind
bad,
of what
bad.
comes with
It's
the
not what you want to
territory of
happen. Yeah.
that's his main pitch, hit that sinker. So
Yeah.
I'm like, obviously, it kind of comes with the territory. But then again, I also do think that grips and positioning. I'm like, he was trying to get him out, and I think
Yeah.
that's just kind of part of O'Brien's kind of repertoire, and it just kind of ran on him a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. That kind of sucked for him. But obviously,
He's
we
okay.
found out
Day to
he's
day.
fine.
Yep.
It's good. He's gonna have a bruise. It's gonna be fine. But yeah, that was a little scary. I think that kind of ruined the All Star game. But yeah, man, I'm like, it was all things considered. It was a fun All Star weekend. I watched the futures game. Home Run Derby was amazing.
And
And
now that
listen,
we are past the All-Star break, which means we are into the second half of the baseball season. It has gone
absolutely,
so fast and so slow at the same time. As a Mets fan, it's just been pretty
yeah.
torturous. And so we thought we'd change it up a little bit. We're gonna hit you guys with our second half predictions, our team MVP, and then our panic meter as we usually do. So I'll kick it off.
Go ahead.
My big Mets prediction, I have a few of them. My
Okay,
big one is that the Mets will trade a quarter of their 25-man roster by the trade deadline. And
a
a
quarter.
quarter, yeah, five. At least five guys from they will have like a Twins like sale, except the Twins had
Okay,
they traded a lot of controllable guys. Some of the
we
Mets
could.
guys are rentals, so the obvious guys that they are going to trade 100% have to get something back for them. Freddie Peralta, Brooks Raley, AJ Minter. They are all expiring deals. They're all positions of great need for any playoff team. Peralta, I think about the Cubs.
Not Luke Weaver. Not Luke Weaver.
I'll get to him in a little bit.
Okay, okay, okay.
I think they could and they will if they are overwhelmed
Okay,
by an
I understand.
offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Raley and Minter, two lefties. Every bullpen could use, some really great lefties in their
Absolutely.
pen. So
Mhm.
you got to get something for him. The other guys that I think the Mets want to trade Tyrone Taylor, right? He doesn't really have a spot because you got Ewing, Benj, Soto in the outfield. Then
Yeah.
you also have Luis Robert, who they could also look to trade. I don't think any team would really take on that. I think he has a $20 million option.
Yeah, that might be more of an off season. That might be more of an off
Yeah, it
season
feels
trade.
like an
Yeah.
off season. And
Mhm.
yeah, like you said, Luke Weaver. We'll see. There was talks about maybe if you traded him for the 34th pick in the draft from the Pirates. Obviously, that didn't happen. But to trade Luke Weaver, somebody who is having top 5 reliever season
Yep.
in baseball
Yep.
right now, plus a
Yep.
year of control, I would have to get a top 50 prospect.
Oh,
I would just
absolutely.
I would have
Absolutely.
to, and
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
I don't know if they get that, and I wouldn't trade him for anything less because the thing is the Mets will be looking to compete next year. This is not a rebuild for 4 or 5 years out. They are trading guys.
Unless Stearns get fired, unless there's
He's not getting fired. He's not getting
Yeah.
fired.
Okay.
Steve Cohen has already said that things need to change. David Stearns will not be one of them.
Okay.
Obviously, that's all lip service until it happens. Who knows?
This is true.
But then they have the idea of trading one of their catchers. It's kind of been talked about in Mets media a little bit. And you have, obviously Francisco Alvarez, and then you have Luis Torrens. And they just signed Torrens to a 2-year extension during the season. So I just don't know if they're willing to trade that. And then second of all, listen, I am very critical of Alvarez. However, I just don't know if you trade him because
Yeah, I
you
just
look
I don't
at
know. I don't know about that.
I
It's
just
just
don't
I,
know.
I think it's always really difficult for teams to trade catchers because it's just like it's such an integral component to
Yeah.
a team. The leader of the infield, if they have at least midway production, you know what I mean? Like obviously Alvarez isn't a defensive god at any really aspect, but I do think that starting pitching and catching are among the positions that are most difficult to get rid of. So I would kind of potentially hold back. I don't really know if that's where they're looking to go, but I
Yeah, and then
definitely think
the
pitching, if anything,
yes,
pitching
yes.
is what they're going to get rid of.
And then the other, idea of not trading Alvarez is look at Jordan Walker. Same age as Alvarez, struggled for the first
Yeah,
3 years of his career, and now is an all-star, won the home run derby. It's like Alvarez was a top prospect in baseball. I don't think he is going to live up to that, but you just never know, and I'd be willing to just hang on to him. He doesn't cost you much as far as like contract and salary goes. And he's not like the worst catcher in baseball defensively. And then, I just threw some
Yeah.
other names out here, Vientos and Senga. I can't imagine anyone really wants them, but maybe they do. And so if you're the Mets, you have to listen on just about everybody. Everybody that's not named McLean, Ewing, Benj, Soto, you have to listen on. You have to see their value because maybe
Yeah.
some team
Yeah.
values, Devin Williams really highly, right? Like maybe he
Yeah.
just can't pitch in New York and he goes to a smaller market and he thrives. And, maybe they get a top prospect. I don't know.
Imagine
Um,
like a Devin Williams on like the White Sox or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Like something like that where the White Sox, for the first time since
hmm
2020 are genuinely a competitive baseball team. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that is like one of those things
totally could
where it's
happen.
like they have a lot of guys to give away, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
and that's the thing about the AL, right? Like there's no team that's out of it. Even,
It's
the
going to be
worst of the
really difficult.
teams.
It's going to be really difficult to trade with the AL.
Yeah.
I honestly think it's going to be interesting to see how many trades happen within the National League. And I think that it's just going to be difficult because there are half of the teams in the American League that still think that they can win, that they can make the playoffs and potentially contend
hmm
for a World Series.
Yeah.
So it's going to be difficult
Yeah,
to
and I think
convince
it'll go
teams
down
to
to
get
the
rid of them.
wire. Like I think a lot of teams will really not know if they're buyers or sellers until, I mean, the trade deadline this year is August 2nd, so probably the series before that, maybe even the series of. So
That feels early. Is that early?
no, it's late. It's late.
Oh, is
It's
that
usually
late?
July
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
31st. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
But moving right along, my next prediction is a juicy one. The
Okay.
the Mets will have the worst record in the National League.
The
They are
worst
currently
behind the Rockies?
behind the Rockies. They are currently 17 games under 500. They will be major sellers at the deadline, and it is going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Because let me just read you their schedule real quick for the rest of the month. We're halfway through the month, and they
Okay.
still have to play Philadelphia, Milwaukee, the Dodgers, your Atlanta Braves, and Miami. They would be lucky to win a third of those games the rest of the month.
Jeez.
So it is going to get really, really ugly for the Mets. And, the Rockies and, who is it, the Giants that are a really
Yeah.
bad team, they can sneak out some win. The Mets should be looking to lose, because here's the thing. If they don't get a top 6 pick, their draft spot goes down 10 spots because they're in the luxury tax. So they should be doing everything in their power to try and get that top 6 pick. And I think they
Yeah.
will. I think Stearns is smart enough to understand the circumstance. Hey, it didn't go our way this year, and that is okay. So, you know what? We're going to retool. We're not going to rebuild, but we're going to retool for the next year. But it is going to get really ugly. Really, really ugly. So, Mets fans got to buckle in because it's just going to be a lot of pain and misery the rest of the season.
I'm like, listen, I wouldn't put it past the Mets to somehow make it back to 500 and, give some sort of get
17 games under, Liam.
I know,
17.
I know. There's I think there's 67 games left. You know what I mean? So, 6-7 for all the youngins out there.
I think
But
65. 65.
okay, well, 67 left for the Braves.
Yes, yeah,
Excuse
there
me,
you go. There you go.
67 left for the Braves. They've had a couple rainouts, but yeah. So I'm like, listen, I wouldn't really go as far as to say that's a crazy hot take. I'm like, they are quite literally 14th right now. So
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not a crazy hot take. I feel like the more hot take would be that the Mets would do what they usually do, is go against what they should be doing. And
That
and
wouldn't be a hot
listen,
take though, for that reason. That is a very Mets thing to do. Be the worst team in the first half and then play like decently in the second half to screw your
yeah,
draft pick and just be mid. But I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't see it happening with this team. This team just has, I mean, we've said it all year, right? Like they just have no heart. They have no chemistry. These are a bunch of guys that were plucked from other teams. And it was just a lot of change in one off season, and clearly something is not clicking.
yeah.
My other prediction, it's a little bit less bold, but I do think that Jonathan will get called back up, and I think he will prove that he deserves to belong in the rotation next year out of
Absolutely.
camp. I think that he has a lot of raw talent, and he just hasn't been able to channel it. He's very young still. He's had a couple cups of coffee in the big leagues, hasn't been that great. I think he'll have a better second half in AAA. He might even get called up just to see what they have in Jonathan in the second half to the majors, and I think he'll get a real look at being in the rotation next year. I wouldn't be surprised if Mets fans, when they start to like mock the team for next year, if he is a 4 or a 5 in that rotation.
Yeah, and he should be. That should be his goal. His goal should be to come up, come up and get as many starts, as many innings as he possibly can, and hopefully with those innings and with potential situations where he can improve his clutch ability and overall pitch selection and pitch making ability, hopefully he can prove to kind of get to the back end of the rotation and be able to, be a starter next year for the Mets and deliver. So, Brett, who is your first half MVP? And I feel like that's a crazy question to ask.
Oh,
Oh my God, who could it possibly be?
really, really tough one. I could have gone with just about anyone, but it is Juan Soto. This
Of
guy
course.
is he's so consistent, man. Like, couple weeks on the IL, doesn't matter. All
Doesn't matter.
star, dark horse MVP candidate. If his team wasn't so bad, like if the Mets finish maybe like 500, he could win MVP easily. Second in the NL in OPS, 967 OPS. He's underperforming his expected stats again. His Savant page is unreal, and that's with the bat speed not being as fast as it was last year or in 2024 with the Yankees. The only thing is he's just not running as much, and that can be attributed to Anton Richardson, who's obviously with the Braves.
Yep.
He hasn't put up the speed numbers that he has last year, but Juan Soto is just the best hitter in baseball. Just flat out. Like, I would love to see somebody
Absolutely.
argue that because he just is, and
It's just
year after year
I
after year.
I genuinely think that I would go best in the National League because I think the best hitter in baseball is Yordan Alvarez. But
That was the
I will
only
say,
person that I was like,
yeah,
maybe,
yeah,
but I just don't. I just think Soto's ability to get on base at the clip that he does. Obviously, Yordan has more slug than Soto. I think no one would really doubt that. But I just think Soto's ability to put up 1,000 OPS just about every season is pretty insane.
absolutely. He continues to deliver. Any team in this league would love to have him, and
Yeah.
he continues to be consistent.
And that just
and
that just goes to show
yeah,
that baseball is just it's a team sport. I think more than
it is.
any other sport in the big four of sports, because if you're LeBron James, you can kind of carry your team. We saw him do that a couple years in Cleveland, whereas Juan Soto is one player and he's doing everything in his power to really will this team, but it's just not enough. But yeah, he has to be my MVP. If you really wanted like a second pick, like, it has to be Luke Weaver, right? Like, the guy has just been
Yeah, absolutely.
25 scoreless innings
Yeah.
appearances. Like, it's just been sick.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's valid. That's valid. Luke Weaver has been crazy, but yeah, Soto continues to prove, depending on I guess who you ask, that he is worth the contract, but it would be certainly nice if others around him, because to deliver a World Series, unfortunately, one person cannot get it done.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the Braves, and I'm starting off hot. I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about Mr. Bumpkin, Austin Riley. And my first second half prediction is he will continue to struggle, and he will not end the season with a 700 OPS. He will be below a 700 OPS to end the season. Last year, he ended the season with the 734 OPS. So it was, but he will be under. And man, I've already talked about this. We're paying him $25 million. Get a hit, contribute. I'm like, the defense is solid, but I'm like, it just doesn't matter anymore. Like, there are so many players on this team that can make adjustments. Some people were so excited that he was talking with Chipper Jones, because a couple guys have talked with Chipper Jones and made adjustments and gone on little hot streaks. He will not make the adjustment. He cannot hit the fastball. He cannot hit the sinker. He swings wildly. He honestly is what Michael Harris had been, was
Good
so
call.
wild.
Really good call.
Not having it. And Michael Harris, and I will talk about him in a little bit, has made the adjustment, and Riley has regressed, man. I'm like, this is
I actually don't really think that's as hot of a take as you think. He's a 617 OPS. To finish with a 700,
yeah,
he would have to probably 800 OPS the rest of the season. Like, I don't think he's gonna get anywhere close to that. I think he might have under 600.
God, I'm like, that would be insane. I'm like, that would just be next level.
I'll say under 650.
Yeah,
I'll take it
I'm
one
like,
step further.
I'm like, listen, I'm like, that is certainly a possibility
Mm-hmm.
right now. So it has been really, really brutal to see this regression. And there's a lot of loyalty for Braves fans for Riley, and there's a lot of people that will ride or die for him no matter what. And there's just really no more excuses that can be made for him. Like, I made a tweet the other day that said, we don't need new outfielders, we don't need a shortstop. We maybe need some pitchers, but what we need is a new third baseman,
Yeah.
because defense only gets you so far, and there's a lot of people that can play great defense. So it's just been brutal. My next one, my prediction is that the Braves will give up the division lead to the Phillies. We're not saying that all of these are hot takes per se, but my hot take in regards to that is not necessarily that the Braves will give up the division lead, but this is going to be one of the most competitive NL East down the stretch, and the Braves will end up coming back and winning the division.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they will give up the lead.
Yep.
I think we're going to be in that 2-game, 3-game, 1-game.
It'll swing back and forth a little bit. Yeah.
I think it's going to be highly, highly competitive. And I think that the Braves will end up winning the division by a game. I think that the Braves will finish.
It's funny, but the Mets could really play spoiler down the stretch.
Oh, 100%.
They could.
I have the Braves barely getting over 90 wins. I have them finishing at 91-71, while the Phillies 90-72. And obviously, that is kind of a crazy prediction because we don't really know. But I do really think that, the deadline is really what is going to make this Braves season. Like, it is integral that we bring in someone, and who I am really, and we've seen rumors, and I love these rumors. Sonny Gray has been rumored with the Braves, and I think that would be incredible. I would be willing to send J.R. Ritchie to Boston for Sonny Gray. I think they would ask more than J.R. Ritchie.
I was gonna say, I don't know if that gets done, but
yeah, but I definitely think that we have some possibilities. Like, if it was John Heel and J.R. Ritchie, and if it was J.R., I definitely think Cam Caminiti is definitely going to be on the table as well, depending on where AA is thinking about. We're really going to see. But I think that A.J. Smith-Shawver is about to be back. And I think that as we kind of get back to the swing things, and if the trade deadline, I still think that we can get back to having a top 5 rotation ERA like we did at the beginning of the year. But I just think that it's really going to depend on people getting healthy and kind of making moves. And listen, I obviously it's not crazy to say where we're going to be at, but I just think that this is going to be a very competitive division. I think that the Phillies are going to really put the Braves in a difficult spot. And I'm making this prediction because I'm hoping that they are going to be able to respond. And we will see if they respond, and I'll keep my fingers crossed. Finally, I'm like, we just got to talk about the fact, like, Dylan Lee, man. Dylan Lee, my prediction, he will continue to shine and prove that he genuinely deserves to be in the running for the Trevor Hoffman Award. Like, he is genuinely one of, if not the best lefty relievers in baseball right now. He ranks first in runs allowed, whiff rate, and swinging strike rate.
I don't know. I think Luke Weaver would like to have a word, bud.
But lefty, excuse me, did I not say lefty? I said lefty reliever.
Oh, no, I'm saying for Trevor Hoffman Award.
Yeah, but I think, like, competing as far as lefties are concerned, he's incredible. He's incredible, man. I'm like, he was 100% an all-star snub. Like, obviously there are
Weaver too.
Based on what I just read to you, he sounds like an all-star. I'm like, Weaver was equally.
The only thing that I'm not sure of is I just looked up the past winners, and it's all closers.
Right. Yeah. It's very difficult.
There is a guy named Mason Miller that does so. He plays in the National League.
He does. It will be difficult, but as I said, I didn't say he was going to win it. I said he was going to contend. Yes. Unfortunately,
so top 5. Top 5.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I believe that he belongs there. Speaking of all-star snubs, got to talk about.
Give it to me.
First half MVP Michael Harris II. Everybody give some claps for Michael Harris II. In early season predictions, if you go back to our first podcast, what did I say, Brett? I said if Michael Harris changes that approach, if he stops worrying about the home run ball, if he stops worrying about being flashy, and he worries about that OPS and that OBP, he is going to have the best season of his career. And besides that, Rookie of the Year. And he is, man. I'm like,
Yeah.
as far as qualified primary center fielders go, he's second in RBIs, second in hits, fifth in OPS, fifth in home runs. I'm like, this is one of his best seasons, man. And he has proved in the first half that he has matured to the point where he's ready to lead this team once Ronald Acuna Jr., whatever happens to Ronald.
You
but
can't wait to get rid of that guy.
Obviously.
No, but his Michael Harris's plate discipline has just been so improved this year.
So good, man. So
and, yeah, like you were saying, like the leadership, like I think that is the big one. Obviously, you know, I'm not seeing it as much as you are, but especially where Riley is struggling, probably his confidence is down. Michael Harris has been able to really take that leadership role on. And like you said, like I think this is a lot of people's really big bounce back pick, right? Because he's just so young, he's so talented, and he was so bad last year. And like you said, like he worries about the home run ball a little less. He worries more about slapping the ball instead of getting the launch angle. And look at the results. I mean, they've spoke for themselves. Like he has been just, one of the best center fielders in baseball.
And he has really improved his approach versus lefties as well. It's no longer an automatic out versus lefties for him. So it has been awesome to see. I will also say honorable mention also goes to Dubon. I'm like, Dubon, whilst he's slowed down a little bit, he has been one of the clutchest hitters in baseball, especially in the first half. He just had a crazy average. I'm like, I think it was like with runners on, it was like a 346 average at one point.
There should be a clutch, in the NBA, they have a Clutch Player of the Year award. There should be something like that in baseball.
Absolutely.
That's
crazy they don't have that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where I'm at as far as the Braves are concerned. A lot to kind of look at. And,
you're nervous, man. Remember those episodes where you were like, they're the best team ever. They might be the best.
But do you blame me?
Ever.
But do you blame me? They weren't losing.
No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But of course, the other shoe has to drop. Of course, this was gonna happen. Maybe not to this extent. I feel like they've been a lot worse than even you expected. Like, right? Because you were nervous, even with the confidence and the cockiness. You were nervous that like all this winning, something has to hit the fan at one point, and it completely has. You were absolutely right.
Yeah. But speaking of that, and speaking of being nervous, let's get to that panic meter. My panic meter is at 7 and will increase to 10 if this trade deadline doesn't pan out. Because if the trade deadline doesn't pan out, things aren't going to change. But there is one man specifically that I would like to speak to today, and his first name is Walt, and his last name is Weiss. Walt, buddy, let's have a sit down here. Let's talk this out. And it's crazy that I need to say this to the manager of a Major League Baseball team.
He is listening.
Play the players that help us win. Jim Jarvis needs to be starting at shortstop every single day. And every single time that you don't play the players that help us win and are hot, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Why would you not feed into a player's momentum? Baseball is a complete game of momentum. That's like the whole point of having success in this freaking sport. Like, it's insane. And he is exactly like Snicker. He's exactly like Snicker. He sucks.
Whoa.
He is exactly like Snicker. It's the same guy. That's why they wanted a new guy on the team. They wanted someone from outside because they knew that he was going to be exactly like Snicker. He was going to be stubborn. He wasn't going to make the changes. He wasn't going to play the guys that were hot, and he was going to mismanage the bullpen. And he's doing the same exact thing. It sucks.
Do Braves fans have like a Frank the Tank? Because like you could be it. You could be the new Frank the Tank. Like you could be the Braves. Frank the Tank.
It sucks.
I remember once again, not just to bring up the past, but man, Walt Weiss, oh my God, what a great manager. This guy's awesome. He's nothing like Snicker. You said those words. I remember you saying that.
Yeah, and I'm taking it back because
you have totally flip-flopped.
Taking it back.
Wow.
Taking it back. Back. As we've grown into the season, he's shown his true colors.
Yeah.
He sucks.
I think for the Mets, the panic meter, I mean, it's at 6. right? Because my panic comes from the trade deadline. If you do not trade every expiring deal, you have failed, David Stearns. Because you do still have a good team. You have good young players. You have good young pieces. Everything that can go wrong has gone wrong across the board this year. But this team has good bones. And this is where you're going to make your money and honestly earn back a lot of trust, because the Mets have had 3 guys graduate to the majors. Probably will finish top 10 in National League Rookie of the Year. Ewing, Bench, McLean. So the farm system is depleted, and you absolutely need to replenish it. You need to be like the Dodgers, like you say you want to be. You want to be the Dodgers of the East. Put your money where your mouth is. Get some pieces back for these guys. If it means trading Weaver, it means trading Weaver for a top 50 prospect. But you need to be able to show me a team that can compete in 2027. You need to get actual pieces back, because all the trades that he's made so far have kind of blown up in his face. And that's coming from somebody who has liked some of the trades. Obviously, I didn't love the trade of who was it? Jose Siri out to San Francisco. They traded like
oh my god, I forgot who that was.
3 guys and got 1. It was so bad. But like that is where the panic comes from. Like, the season is over. There's 17 games under. The panic also probably comes from, like we talked about already, like winning too many games, right? Like, you cannot win too many games. I don't think that they will, but you need to get a top 6 pick, because you can't afford to get a 7 pick and then drop to 17. Like, they really need to get back into the top of the draft.
Absolutely. And I definitely think that, depending on what side of Mets Twitter or what side of Mets fandom you are, I think there's definitely some Mets fans that might be looking for a shortstop. And shortstops are usually at a premium in the MLB draft.
I don't know. Who's going to take Lindor? You have to take a bad contract back, right? Like,
maybe the retirement home might take Lindor.
I would take Devers. But I wouldn't take Seager.
Everyone would take Devers.
I wouldn't take Seager. I wouldn't take Bogarts. I wouldn't take Story. Like, these guys are just as bad. Maybe the contract's a little better, but Lindor, there's a prediction. I do.
Is Sieg's not having a good year this year?
No, horrible.
Oh, is he really?
He's been on the injured list basically all year. He's on my fantasy team.
That's right.
Been on the injured list.
Okay.
He's batting 182 with like a 650 OPS. It's been Austin Riley bad for Corey Seager.
Seemingly even worse than Austin Riley.
Yeah, coming out of the break, the Mets have the Phillies this weekend. They play tomorrow. Actually, the only game on Thursday. So be sure to watch it. No game Friday, which is going to be a little weird. So Juan Soto will have been in Philadelphia.
Why do they keep doing that?
I think because they're already like All-Star game, Philadelphia. Give like
you know why they're doing it?
Maybe.
You know why they're doing
World
it?
Cup.
The third place game, I think, is on Friday.
Yeah, and then the championship game is Sunday in Jersey. Yeah,
Sunday,
whatever. Soccer is
championship game.
Whatever. So Juan Soto has been eating cheesesteaks all week long, is basically what we're saying.
He has.
And the Mets could win. I don't know because they miss Sanchez and they miss Wheeler. So
they do.
You face Luzardo, you face Nola the first game, and then you face Rangel. So one of their rookies in Philadelphia. And that's with McLean on the mound on Sunday. So who knows? I think it'll be a series loss. I think the Phillies offense is just too good. Schwarber, I think, will be looking to get his lick back after blowing it in the home run derby. Same thing with Harper, 100%. Just being a little embarrassed. Yeah. So I think it'll be a series loss, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, I will say that one of the best pitching matchups on Friday is Braves versus Rangers. Chris Sale versus Jacob deGrom. I'm like, talk about an awesome pitching matchup. Yeah, the unction, but 2 unks that are doing great. I'm like, obviously, Sale's having a better season than deGrom.
Yeah, deGrom's only been okay.
Yeah, deGrom's only been okay, but listen, deGrom is deGrom. I will always respect him. I will always look forward to watching him pitch. Yeah. I love me some Jacob deGrom. I always have. And so, yes, that's exciting. Owen Murphy gets his first actual start.
Okay.
Because he's coming out of the bullpen, so his
Yep.
first actual start in the second game versus Mackenzie Gore, which I am not looking forward to that Mackenzie Gore experience. He has truly been incredible for the Rangers. And then we face Nathan Eovaldi. I'm like, it's crazy, man. I'm like, this Rangers team who are just above 500. I'm like, they have some great pitchers, man. Like they have a great staff, but it's been their offense that has really struggled.
Yeah.
So we're definitely gonna see how that pans out. I'm like, I expect a series win here. But definitely some difficult pitchers. So we'll see how the Braves bounce back. But I'm excited for baseball again.
We are
It's
into
been
the
a while.
second half, boys. We are in it.
Yeah. And we will see how it all pans out.
Yeah.
But thank you for listening. And we do have an announcement before we leave. We are doing a collab.
Let's go.
A collab with the Braves Idiots podcast. We're going to be recording a reaction to the Braves and Mets series at the end of this week. So we're very excited about that. Excuse me. Yes, at the end of the month, we're very excited about that. Shout out to those guys. Go listen to their podcast. They do some great content.
They're gonna beat up on me. They're gonna gang up on the only Mets fan. I'm gonna be left by my lonesome, but it's gonna be a really good time. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, that is Division Therapy. Hope y'all have a good night.
Let's go Mets.